Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Mystery. I am Matt. I am a psychic, a medium, and an eclectic witch, and I am primarily a Victorian spiritualist practitioner. So that means I am versed in becoming even more versed by the day, because I never stop learning in the ways of the 1800s. And I love it. I will never stop loving it, and it's just my path so far. Here today, I sit by my ever evolving Sarah Winchester altar, the heiress of the Winchester rifle fortune, who had a tumultuous story of building her mansion for 38 years. And it's kind of interesting. I may do some more content on that later, though. It's interesting. You should check it out. But today, I've got an interesting video for you. Something that may be helpful. It's very simple. It's very quick and easy to throw together, and it requires no cleansing ahead of time, which is good. You don't necessarily have to focus on getting the negative energies out first. It's through the process of making and using this item that breaks up the negative and the stagnant energies so you can move and transform and transmute through whatever you're dealing with. So tonight I've got a shaker jar that I'm going to be making with a regular mason jar and some ingredients that I have in my home that I've just found and I've foraged. And it's basically used like a sound cleansing tool. You use it like a rattle, you shake it, and all the contents inside cleanse the area, break up stagnant energy, and get things moving within the space. So the reason why I don't cleanse ahead of time, though, is because I want all of that nasty, stagnant energy within the items that I put in the jar sympathetically, because as I'm shaking it, I am breaking up the negative energy within the sympathetic items that I'm using to shake as a sound cleanse in the area. So, effectively, you don't have to cleanse. And in my belief system, it's almost better that I don't, so I'm actively and sympathetically shaking the negative and stagnant energy out of whatever I put in this jar and doing the same thing in reality. I am, bridging the gap between the worlds with this spell working. And I won't seal it as well. I won't seal it with wax, I won't seal it with thread, I won't seal it with anything, simply because I'm going to make this where I can remove and add in new objects that I feel are stagnant or keeping me stagnant. Or I can add in more objects to cut through that energy as well, in which I will get to here in a second. So lately in my own personal practice in life, some of the major concerns have been dealing with transitional energies, so that death card energy, sort of that tower card energy, but for the better, if that makes sense. And some of the energies that are just generally stagnant. Boxes from moving that I haven't moved since December, which the space is getting to where it needs to be gradually, but I'd like to get those out of here. Setting up and making room for my practice as a whole within the whole home. And that's been a big concern of mine. So what I've done is I've picked a couple of correspondences that I can put into the jar that will directly shake up the energy of those things. So let's go ahead and get started. I have my jar, just your regular old mason jar. It needs to be big enough that you can fit the items with room to shake them. Now, it doesn't necessarily matter if you destroy the items by shaking them. That's honestly better in my opinion, because you're literally and forcefully breaking up that energy, as long as you don't put anything in here that will shatter the jar, because especially while you're holding it, you don't want broken glass, and you don't want whatever you put in here to be all over the floor, or you don't want the risk of cutting yourself. So, like I said, I'm not going to cleanse this jar first, because I want that whatever energy that I start off with so I can break it up and move through it. Okay, so first I've chosen, and I'll explain the significance for mine, but you can put whatever you feel comfortable with. I'll explain the reasoning why I'm putting everything that I am in here, but I'd like you to choose your own. You can put herbs, you can put regular objects, you can put just about anything that you can fit in here. I just would be careful with crystals because again they can break other things or they can be broken depending on their hardness, so I'd watch out for that. 3 pieces of cardboard cut from boxes that still haven't been moved since December. 1, 2, 3. 3 being a very magical number. A bottle cap from some of my favorite soda because I want to break up the energy of limiting beliefs. Now, this represents to me the mental cap that we can sometimes put on ourselves, the limit that we can set for ourselves, that is not really healthy and no longer serving a lot of us, even though we still hold on to those mental caps. So I want to break up the cap that I put on top of myself of what I can do. Boop. Next, 13, a great number for witchcraft. 13 white 13 white push pins. They're sharp. They can cut through and break through energies. They can pin that energy down as well. And white for purification. 13 of them. And into the jar they go. Next, I'm going to use maybe 2 or 3 gumballs from a gumball tree here in the Midwest. They're locally known as different things, but all those spikes are very protective and they're very spiny, and they can cut through all of that energy sympathetically. Into my jar. 1, 2, and 3. Just like that. Ooh, crumb. Those were foraged from my local art museum's park area, outdoor park area. Of course, with offering and consideration for the land. Next, black peppercorn for deep protection and also to send back any of that negative energy that may be trying to come at me. This is not only breaking up the energy, but this is also very much an ingredient that considers where that energy came from and whether it was justified or not coming to me. And then, last but not least, poppy seeds. Poppy seeds were long associated with, especially they were long associated with necromancy, and in the Victorian period specifically, they were associated with sleep and imagination and dreams. And they have different associations within different cultures and pantheons, but specifically, especially since I'm a Victorian practitioner, I am going to use them to represent sleep and dreams and the imaginative state. Not necessarily am I using them to break up the energy within sleep, but I'm using them more so to shake up and enliven creative energies alongside shaking up to get rid of the not so great energies that are no longer serving me. And I'll just eyeball that to go in. These poppy seeds have also been historically used for confusion and for disruption, especially in baneful workings. And I'm going to play off of that as well, but in a sense of confusing the areas and disrupting the areas where that energy, that negative or that stagnant energy can collect. and I'm going to use that so the energy doesn't necessarily know that it can settle there anymore. Confusing it, it's kind of like the house that Miss Sarah Winchester had built. She built it to confuse the spirits. What she felt was negative encounters that she had. I'm going to tap into that same mentality with the poppy seeds in my shaker jar. Now that I've got all my items in my shaker jar, and you can add whatever items you want, you can add whatever number of items, you can pick significant numbers to you, whatever feels right, and then I will cap it off. And like I said, I don't need to seal it, because what is holding me back and what is needing to be broken up tomorrow may be different than today. And I can remove whatever items that I need. If I have to get a different jar, so be it. I can just sift through the ingredients, use new ingredients. It's literally customizable to whatever you would like. And here's what it sounds like. So you get, in my version, some of the metal pieces like the cap, the thumbtacks hitting off the top of the lid occasionally. They hit off the top of the lid occasionally, and they create a almost bell-like sound. And then you also get the items creating the jingling effect, which also cleanses at a higher frequency and vibration. You get the lower vibrations of the bell-like tone, and you get the higher frequencies. So it will do a lot to keep the centered energies, which is kind of cool. So if you would like, you could pick a harder object, and you could pick more jingly objects as well, and to play off of the musical side of things that I do as well. Those harder objects will create lower pitches off of the lid, and the more jingly objects will create higher pitched and work with the higher energies to break up the higher energies off of the glass, remaining with the centered energies in your space. Well, I hope you guys found this video useful. I know this is a pretty simple concept, but a lot of people don't necessarily know to use something unless they've seen it. So if you've seen a shaker jar before, or heard of this concept, or used a rattle before, this is just another format and a way to do it. And I encourage you to get creative and use those imaginative forces, and use downloads, use whatever energy you're getting from spirit, because I've found that from myself and my own practices, all of that will lead you where you need to go and what you need to put into the things that you do. And I encourage you to use these things. I'm going to walk all around my apartment with my new my robot vacuum cleaner, Bruce, who's got an incense burner attached to him. I'm going to walk around with him, and I'm going to use this to shake some of that negative, stagnant, what have you energy that no longer serves me out of this space. And hopefully it will gradually propel my spaces into more productive use. This can work for clutter. This can work for literally whatever stagnant energy you feel is going. I encourage you to use this, and I encourage you to share this, and I encourage you to have fun. All this should be fun. No matter what we got going on, no matter how stressed we are, no matter how much everyday life creeps in, our magic should be fun. And that's what gives it the energy. Our laughter, our dancing, our general energies of fun and power. The power comes from here. Power comes from us. And I encourage you to use it. Again, I thank you today for visiting the mystery, and I encourage you to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And click the notification bell. That's pretty important. Otherwise, YouTube does not like to notify, in my experience from what I found out. I've also created a Buy Me a Coffee account, so you can go to www.buymeacoffee.com. I will link it down below. And unlike Patreon, you can donate the amount of a coffee, or 3 coffees, or 5 coffees. So it allows you to support creators like me who love to do all of this in a full-time manner, but might not be able to support their entire career with these things. So buymeacoffee.com is great for that. And there are a bunch of other creators on buymeacoffee.com. And if you are another creator who puts out their passions, puts out their magic, I would encourage you to check out this service, this crowdfunding resource, because it is a really great one. And who couldn't use a coffee every now and again? It fuels us magically, and it fuels us in smaller ways that are more affordable and are more doable for the average and everyday magical person who's probably got a lot of other awesome people to support as well. And I encourage you to do that. I've also created an Etsy store under the name Vicariously Victorian, no space and capital V's. I am putting up, as I make them and as I come up with ideas, I'm putting up several different types of items, and they are all completely spiritual download from the spirits that I commune with, and they're all custom and handmade. And one of those examples that I have right here on Sarah Winchester's altar is a black morning candle that I have with her only known portrait in existence, and it says morning. It's used for petitioning her, which in means that she knows quite well on getting through times of mourning, whether it's mourning a person, loss of a pet, or just a loss of a concept. Say you're going through grief for any reason that feels like a loss. This is what this candle is good for. It is warm vanilla and amber smell, scented, and it has been taken great care in pouring, and it's been wicked with a wide, thick wick, so it burns quite evenly. And it's got the nice cotton linen label on there with a heat-proof backing. Ding! The other candle I have is a Sarah Winchester Healing the Spirits candle, and it's got her painted portrait on it. It is for the work with healing, literally healing spirits. She communed with so many different spirits in her lifetime and in her home that she had to have come across many that had issues, many that had negative energy around them, especially with the story of her rifle and her family's rifle and what happened with that, whether she was actually being haunted or not. You can use these to tap into that energy of healing the spirits. And it's got a nice light floral lavenderish smell. It's got a nice light lavender color as well. Again, with a thicker, more evenly burning wick. And I've left a little bit of room at the top so it can breathe in the glass as well. I also have a custom-made wand that I've made from one of my childhood favorite shows, inspired by Wizards of Waverly Place. And not everybody would know that show, but they had, custom wands that they used. And I've made some that are similar. They're not quite exactly the same, because they are inspired. They are a play on those wands, but they are meant to be used in actual magical practices for wielding intent. I do wire wrap jewelry as well. I've got a few pieces on there right now, and I also do custom wire wrap, so get a hold of me if you'd like to do a custom wire wrap piece, and I can work with you on that. And I am excited for whatever comes, and I would ask as well that you please like, subscribe, share, and comment, and if you'd like, you can support me on Buy Me a Coffee. It would be greatly appreciated. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your night, day, wherever you are in this magical world, because time and space is always weird on the other side, and we're always dipping our toes into that. Some of us have an entire foot in the grave, and it's quite an experience. And I wish you the best wherever, whenever, and however you are right now. Thank you, and much love. Another great reason that I like to ask you to like, subscribe, and share is that YouTube has a lovely little 1,000 subscriber requirement to do much of the things that bigger channels can do on YouTube, sharing community posts, monetization of the channel. And if you would like to see more content, I challenge you to like, subscribe, share for that very reason, so I can get more of myself out there and more of myself available in several different ways through this channel.